Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little black subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that black subscribe button. Really does help our audience grow, really does help our channel grow, really does help and mean more than you could possibly know. So go ahead, hit that little black subscribe button. Also, thank you to our presenting sponsor, Betfred Sportsbook and the Betfred Sportsbook app. Bet 50 on any game, get $250 in free bets. Thank you again to Betfred. Thank you again to you. Now, here is the video that you came here for. Do want to switch gears. And unfortunately, I want to talk about another very serious topic from over the course of the weekend. I think you guys and girls know where I'm going with this one. I'm, of course, talking about Bob Huggins, legendary West Virginia basketball coach, 69 years old. On Friday night, got arrested for a DUI. And by now, I think everybody knows the details, but arrested for a DUI. It came just a few months after he made that homophobic slur on radio. At that point, many believed that he should be fired for the slur. West Virginia stood by him, basically put him on a zero tolerance policy. Well, on Friday night, he gets arrested. On Friday night, he gets a DUI. And by late Saturday, he had officially resigned as the head coach of West Virginia basketball, essentially bringing a sad end to a Hall of Fame career. Just a couple really quick thoughts on the Bob Huggins stuff, and then I do want to look forward. But let me start with Bob Huggins, the person, the man, the whatever. And I'm not claiming that I know him or I'm going to psychoanalyze him or anything like that. As a matter of fact, generally, if you listen to this show, you guys and girls know I'm actually the exact opposite. I am not a moralist by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not perfect. I have made mistakes. I am far from a perfect human being. And I try not to judge others for the decisions they make and the situations that they find themselves in, because again, I'm far from a perfect person. At the same time, when you read the details of this arrest, it's pretty jarring, right? So 0.21 blood alcohol level, that's twice the legal limit. They found empty beer cans in his front seat and in his trunk. Failed multiple field sobriety tests. On top of that, literally did not know what city he was in according to the police report. This is all according to the police report. This isn't something I read on a message board. It's not rumor. It's not innuendo. This is from the police report. Didn't know what city he was in. Couldn't explain why he would be in Pittsburgh. And so when I look at this situation, to me, it's clear that Bob Huggins should not be the representative of West Virginia basketball, the university, the athletic department, or anything. And as a matter of fact, I think he shouldn't be coaching basketball at all at this point. I think he needs to get help. I'm not a moralist. I'm not perfect. I'm not a substance abuse expert, okay? That's not what I'm saying here. But at the same time, when I look at this situation, this is what I see. If a grown man wants to have beverages, or a grown woman, that is absolutely 1,000% their prerogative. I'm not here to judge. But at the same time, there's never an excuse. Never an excuse. And I know you guys and girls know this. I'm just saying. There's never an excuse to get behind the wheel. And so I don't even care that you were so drunk you didn't know what city you were in. I don't care that anything that you were doing, who you were hanging out, that doesn't matter to me. You're 69 years old. You'd make your own decisions. You cannot get behind a wheel. And to me, that is why he should no longer be the West Virginia basketball coach. It is because he clearly, one, has no respect for his employers. Remember, he's on a zero strike policy from the last incident that he has. If he felt threatened, if he felt scared, if he cared, he probably would have been smarter with his actions. He clearly has no respect for other pedestrians and the people that he put in danger. And then three, I don't even know if he has self-respect for himself at this point, knowing everything that's on the line and putting himself in this situation. I'm not a substance abuse counselor. I'm not an expert, but it is clear he probably should not be the head coach at West Virginia. And I do hope whatever help he needs that he gets. And I hope he lives a safe and happy and healthy rest of his life. I do think, by the way, this is the end. I had a lot of comments on Saturday on my social media of, oh, all these guys get another opportunity and blah, blah, blah. And first of all, you guys and girls know my stance on this. If somebody else wants to go hire him, that's fine. West Virginia really had no choice. And in some ways, I actually give Bob Huggins a tiny bit of credit for what's the right way I'm trying to say this? Having the self-respect to avoid confrontation with his state university, with the school that he went to, with the school that he loves. He resigned so the school didn't have to fire him. Now, if somebody else wants to hire him, that's fine, but he's 69 years old. This is his second DUI. Remember, he got one when he was the head coach at Cincinnati. And so my hunch, and oh, by the way, he was like literally potentially about to retire. There was conversations going into this offseason that this might have been his last NCAA tournament run, that this might be his last year at West Virginia. So I don't think this is a Chris Beard does something, alleged to have done something dumb. Let me put it that way. I don't think this is Chris Beard alleged to have done something dumb and then ends up coaching 6 months later or a year later. This doesn't strike me as Bob Huggins taking a year off, doing the apology tour, and then showing up at fill-in-the-blank school. I do think this is the end. It is sad. And I think we're going to remember the incredible times with Bob Huggins. He had some incredible teams at Cincinnati. I remember 1999, UConn wins its first national championship. They beat Duke in the title game. Duke was the number one team in the country all year. The only other team to beat them that season was Cincinnati. Bob Huggins had it rolling. Bob Huggins had it going. Had that 1 year at Kansas State where basically all the success that Kansas State has had over the last 15 years is a direct reflection of the 1 year that they had Bob Huggins as its head coach. And of course, a lot of great memories for West Virginia fans with Bob Huggins as the head coach, including the Final Four. I believe this is probably the last that we've seen him on a sideline at a major university. So I do wish him well. And if he deems he needs help, I hope he gets it. But I think that's the end. Couple follow-ups to that, because obviously, look, Bob Huggins, the human being, and then, of course, you know, all of the serious real life stuff that was around this story. That's obviously the headlines. But I do think it is worth looking ahead as to what is next at West Virginia. It was interesting. You read multiple reports about what is going on there right now. Again, Bob Huggins retired and resigned effective immediately on Saturday. And now, right now, I think there's a little bit of uncertainty over what is going to happen. On the one hand, first of all, let me say this. Whenever the job is officially open and they're full speed ahead, I do believe they're going to get a nice candidate pool for that job. Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball. It pays millions of dollars. And probably most importantly, this offseason, a lot of the buzz about West Virginia was that they had their collective ducks in a row. They had a strong NIL setup and NIL program. And West Virginia, I don't know if they're at the forefront, but they're in very good shape. And I do think as head coaches, as we move on in this NIL world, where are your collectives at? Where is your NIL program at? That is an important part with these decisions and with deciding what schools you want to go to. So when West Virginia opens, I think they'll get a pretty good candidate. Let me also say this, though. There were a bunch of reports on Saturday night and Sunday, including from Pete Thamel, ESPN, that said that West Virginia wants to make a permanent hire right now. And I actually think that's a terrible idea for two reasons. One, I think it's actually going to be hard to get a good candidate right now. Now, I know I just said it's a great job. People are going to flock to it. But think about where we are on the calendar. It's June 19th right now, okay? It's June 19th. Most every college in America has all of its players back on campus. So yes, is somebody going to take the job? Absolutely. But is it going to be the guy that you want? I don't know. Because to hire somebody right now as a full-time permanent replacement for Bob Huggins, that guy is going to have to walk into his locker room in June, the players that he recruited to where he is right now, and say, guys, I'm leaving. And I think that's an important part. Players are on campus. Guys are on campus. The 2023-2024 season has kind of unofficially begun. And so to get somebody right now is to get them to leave a roster that they've built with players on campus right now. I don't know who is going to do that. The other reason that I would not pursue a full-time head coach right now, and by the way, I'm recording here about 5 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday, so stuff could change. The other reason I wouldn't is because you have a very good team right now in West Virginia, ready for the 2023-2024 season. And the longer you wait, the longer this coaching search goes on, the more likely it is that a lot of those guys elect to transfer. John Rothstein reported on Sunday that all of the players will have 30 days to enter the portal and be immediately eligible. You start goofing off and leaving those guys uncertain going forward, they're going to leave. And they're going to look at their options if they are not already. Again, as I'm recording, nothing has happened, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to. And as a matter of fact, I saw a report on Saturday night from a West Virginia radio host that said that he heard upwards of 8 players could enter the transfer portal come Monday. And you're talking about, you thought Torres was done talking about the transfer portal. It appears as though I might still be going here into July. And so you look at the players that are available. Jesse Edwards, all ACC center from Syracuse, transferred into West Virginia. Kirk Risa led the Pac-12 in assists back-to-back years at Arizona. He's at West Virginia now. Raekwon Battle, leading scorer on Montana State NCAA tournament team. He's at West Virginia. Couple players back from last year's NCAA tournament team at West Virginia. So this could be like this could be its own new wave of transfer portal craziness if these players decide to go. And that is why I think you need to name the interim head coach from on this staff and hope that he can retain this roster as is. Because this is an NCAA tournament roster. This might even be a second week NCAA tournament roster. You start goofing off, though. You start goofing off and waiting and this and that. Those guys all have options, and they're going to start to look around.